Guess who's not here yet? Polly, the only other person that needs to actually be here is not yet here, which is fine. It's fine. All right. I'm already about a drink and a half in. All right. I had relatives come into town, take me out to dinner. So it's fine. I can keep the show going for the next foreseeable 5 minutes while Polly is preparing his alcoholic beverages. In the meantime, I guess I should. Ooh, my headphone fell out. Not that I really need it because Polly's not here yet. So we'll wait for Polly to show up. It's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm not salty about it at all. It's just, that probably made a lot more noise for you than it did for me. It's fine. We're not going to worry about it. You know what's funny though, right? Polly's tardy tendency, right? It's not going to fly with any future Mrs. Polydubs in the future at all. And I'll tell you why. Because Mr. Weebo Jones, boyfriendo, El Boyfriendo Supreme, as some of you know him as, he it's not tolerated with him either. I usually give him like a 15-minute, this is when you have to be here by, pre-time, so that any wiggle room is accounted for in his brain. And I found that you have to do that for a number of males in reality, not just El Boyfriendo, but my brother as well. You have to give him at least 15 minutes of wiggle room before the actual time that they're supposed to be there. Just because, for whatever reason, that is the case. And you know what? It's fine. I can do that. But I don't know if it's going to work with Polly if I tell him, hey, Polly, I need you to be here at 7:45 every Sunday, all right? Because we have a show at 7:45. Actually, no, I lied. It's at 8. But for Polly's purposes, it's going to be at 7:45. It's fine, though. It's fine. College rules. If the professor isn't there for the first 15 minutes, then you get to leave. See, that's not just college, I've heard. That's also, from what I recall, a high school thing as well, which I've never had the opportunity to take advantage of it. So I wouldn't know if it's a reality or not. But in the case that it is, I'd say go for it because they're wasting your time by not being there. That doesn't mean that I'm trying to be rude to Polly. It's fine. I'm just saying, tardiness is certainly not going to help you in the long run. But I digress. We're about 3 minutes in. We're still waiting on Polly. Let's check the Twitter to see if he's seen the thing. Let's check the Discord because I send him the link twice. Ladies and gentlemen, I send Polly the link 2 times on Sundays, and he is still tardy. It's fine, though. We're not going to worry about it. We will power through. So who's in the chat right now? We have Zombie Teddy, which I read your comment. Thank you, sir, for your contribution to this live stream and helping me entertain the masses. The Memes of Destruction. Hey, guys, what's going on? Well, you see, I am trying to entertain a whole bunch, all 20 of you people who are present here for my lovely live streaming show without my co-host. And it's a little bit sad. But I guess it's going to be just a running theme. Who knows? We'll see. Zombie Teddy did not go to high school. Really? See, I thought that was a requirement for people. You're definitely a trap. Women are always like, see, you would think that. You would think that. But in my experience, that has not been the case. Anyone who has an outwards facing genitalia has usually been somewhat late in terms of like when it is that we have to be somewhere at a specific time. It's the chronic people, the people who do it the most chronically are my brother, my boyfriend, and it seems Polydub is entered into that list. I'm usually pretty good about being at least on time, if not like 5 to 15 minutes early to everything, because it was drilled into my head as a kid, like early is on time is late, and late just don't even bother showing up at that point. But let's not start off every show like this, where I have like a 5-minute long rant about my co-host. It's fine. It's fine. Because he'll get here eventually. I have faith in Polly. All right? I have faith. That faith diminishes with each minute that passes, but I have faith. So let's continue on with the show. I have literally nothing planned, which is fine. But you know what? I have other things that I could talk about. I have so many things. So many things have happened in the last week since we had our last show. Chief among them, I have purchased several lemons with the intent of using them on this show. So I'm just gonna cut up this right here, this here lemon, because we're gonna do tequila shots. That's what we're drinking tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I would have liked to have done tequila shots with Polly watching, but obviously that can't happen. So we're gonna do tequila shots with just me and you. And yes, it's a Sunday night. And yes, I have to be somewhere after this to finish off of the homework project, but it's fine. It's fine. So we have some especial Jose Cuervo tonight, and it is the blue agave version, not the gold stuff. Oh, this shot glass is a little bit dirty. That's okay. I clean them as best as I can, but you know, with the housemates that I have, anything can happen, honestly. Which there have been some developments in that department, you'll be happy to know, and that was overflowing. Hot shit. That's okay. But we're not just gonna do a tequila shot. We're gonna do all of the tequila shots. So I also have some salt here, and you're gonna watch me do 3 tequila shots, because that's what 3, not 2. 3 tequila shots live on air, because that's what I budgeted in my calorie budgeting thing, because I do that now. So we're gonna do tequila shots. And by we, I mean me. And by me, I mean just me, by myself. Unless anyone wants to join me from the chat. I do have salt. This is salt. Thank you, Chicago Mike. I am well aware of what it is that you... Oh, that's a lot of salt. What it is that you need to do for a tequila shot. So we have the salt on the arm, the hand. We have the lemon. I prefer lemon just because of the taste. But you can do this at home with a lime if you're one of those noobs that's never done a tequila shot. And of course, I have my clear Jose Cuervo. So, Jose Cuervo isn't tequila, it's dirty Mexican water. It will do. It will do for our purposes. Thank you very much, Duck Dog. Thank you. It's supposed to be limes. I don't like the taste of limes, so we're doing lemons. I'm sorry. Tequila makes me annoyingly hyper. We'll see what tequila does to me. All right. So for those of you who in the audience have not done a tequila shot before, the basic procedure is salt, tequila shot, then your citrus fruit. In this case, it's lemon, but usually people opt for a lime. I'm not going to judge. If you want to do whatever it is that you want to do, that's fine, but I prefer lemons. Sorry. I would do some shots, but it's 10 a.m. and I'm at work. For those of you who can join us, I will do this in solidarity for you. All right? So, while my co-host is still absent, I will make the big brain decision to do a tequila shot on a Sunday night before it is that I have to go off and do projects with people. It's cocktail hour. What are you going to do? Oh, and before I do that, thank you, Duck Dog, for the $2 over on the Streamlabs. 1,800 reposado? Thumbs up, thumbs up. I thank you, sir. You know, that reminds me, I should probably have the stream open and muted for obvious reasons. Interesting. Okay. Let's pop out the chat. Let's do that first. I'm totally not stalling because I want to take tequila shots with Polly, but I am totally stalling because I want to take tequila shots with Polly. Although Polly's not here, so I'm gonna power through this. It's fine. All right, ready, kids? You lick? Not bad. Awesome sauce. All right. Someone remind me and we'll do another tequila shot in like half an hour, give or take. Woo! Hot diggity dog. That was great. Anyway, so, ladies, gentlemen, people in the chat, how are we this evening? All 38 of you. I know you were dying to just witness that awesomeness, but it be what it be. This is not tequila. By the way, this is ice and some like 0-calorie vitamin water. I think it's Fuji apple and pear. And I just drink it because, one, taste, two, I need to hydrate myself. You gotta hydrate yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Always gotta hydrate yourself. What else we got in the chat? We have the Means of Destruction who says that was impressive. Thank you. I agree. My ability to take tequila shots like I'm a partier is unmatched by my ability to take tequila shots like I'm a partier. What I just said probably made no sense, but you know what? We're going to power through it. It's fine. How is everybody this evening? Did I ask that already? I totally asked that already. It's fine. We're not going to worry about it. Oh, you know what? I should probably get the live chat open so that I see everyone's comment. Still do says Porfido. Mother of God. I told you guys I was a drink and a half in when I got here, right? Well, yeah. Now I'm a drink plus a shot plus a half in. I had a whole apple cider and then a half of a pale ale before it was that I had to book it to get here because I'm not about that tardy life. Hashtag Polydub. Shame on you. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm partly cloudy with a high of 69. The tequila is already kicking in. I told you I was drunk before I got here, right? And by drunk, I mean pleasantly tipsy, which is, there's a difference. Nursing a horrible headache. I bought 3 of the Batman Arkham games. See, I wish that I had enough time to actually play video games, but unfortunately, I do not. So, guys, I want you to know that I have a folder called Polyfodder. And it's basically a folder dedicated to things that would piss Polly off the most. And we typically I don't want to touch it until Polly is here. But I have something in here. I guess we could approach it. What do you guys want to talk about? Mary Jane or Maleficent? Which it's coming out, the Maleficent movie. Blah, 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 blah. The Maleficent movie is coming out this week, I'm pretty sure. So we could probably approach that. But in the event that you don't want to talk about that, we could always talk about something else. What has happened this week, right? I gotta double check. I know that some ISIS hack has been offed by the United States government, which is, you know, always a plus. Usually I'm a pacifist, but in the case of terrorists, I mean, you know, it be what it be. Florida man. Sorry, I just read a headline that has me giggling. It's Florida man arrested for attempting to barbecue child molesters. And I'm left wondering how exactly it is that you go about approaching child molesters in that sort of way in order to problem solve, you know? Cynical Lindsay, so you're tipsy and you took a tequila shot. Oof. Yeah, story of my life. Just a succession of oops and oofs. He killed himself, Zombie Teddy says? See, I did not know that. Here's the thing about being a college student, right? I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, that as someone who is perpetually inundated with project after project after homework assignment after homework assignment after class after meeting up with someone about a project, it can be a little bit hard to keep up with modern day news stuff, especially if you also have a job on top of a second job on top of doing YouTube. So most of my week thus far has been dedicated to thesis readings and or preparing for the Halloween special that is coming out this Thursday. I'm super excited about it, by the way. It's got all of these little different intricate parts. We have a whole history lesson on what it is that is the main topic. We have a whole bunch of articles that I've pulled up from the last 10 months with regards to the subject material at hand. And of course, because it's Halloween, we have to theme it in the terms of like cultural appropriation. But the idea behind this year's Halloween special versus any other year's Halloween special, which I've retroactively turned into a thing although I haven't actually gotten the playlist already set up, is cultural appropriation is the theme of the Halloween special, because, Halloween is all about taking the joy out of the existence of little children for dressing up as things that they don't quite understand, and taking advantage of a holiday that is 100% culturally appropriative, but no one gives a crap about that. It's always about the costumes that are inappropriate, the costumes that denigrate minority groups, or that somehow make fun of oppressed groups of people. It's all ridiculous to me. The idea behind the outrage in the Halloween season has always gotten on my nerves, which is why we always have something themed around the culturally appropriative type of nonsense. So this year, I took the opposite direction, and I went a little bit overboard with it, I'll say this. So normally we're criticizing the idea behind cultural appropriation. This year we're criticizing the people that don't go along with cultural appropriation, in the sense that, right, they are so hopped up on this idea of cultural appropriation is bad. Don't do it. The white man should not culturally appropriate. But at the same time, they're also giving this symbol. I don't want to give too much away, but they're giving into this idea that this symbol is now this retconned version, this revisionist version of what has been culturally appropriated since 70 years ago, roughly, give or take, about 4 years. You can probably gather exactly what it is that I'm going about, but the point that I'm making in this video is, right, we have all of this animosity towards people that will repurpose symbols of a culture for their own purposes, poison them, and make them into something that they weren't originally for, right? But then we're perfectly willing to do this for this one specific instance in all cases. And here are examples from the last 10 months of that occurring. And so I have nearly 4,000 words written regarding this topic. And like I said, we go into the whole history of the subject before we actually approach 2019's take on the subject. And it's just a whole hassle. I'm super excited about it. I haven't filmed it yet. I finished scripting it today. But I am super excited. I'm super excited about it because I've been planning this for a few months now, right? Because it takes a little bit of time to actually research videos of this capacity, because you have to have examples, and if you don't have examples, it doesn't make the point clear enough. And I really wanted to do from a set time to a set time in order to establish a significant enough timeline that it made my point fair and well, especially given the amount of examples that I have, the breadth of which, the variety that they cover, right? Because it's not just it's not instances where people are outraged because they have been made to be outraged because it's graffitied or it's intentionally done. It's not intentionally done. Oftentimes the utilization of what it is that we are talking about, the subject material itself, has been done 100 years ago, 80 years ago, years before it was that the revisionist take on the subject material has occurred. Regardless of that fact, however, people still find it prudent to be outraged over this thing. And to me, given the history that I go over, the amount of just archaeological evidence and historical context that we cover, it's utterly ridiculous to me. And, I get from a perspective of someone who didn't understand it prior to doing all this research, I get that it can be a little bit daunting. I'll just say it. We're talking about the swastika. All right? Because I feel like I'm giving so much hype, but we are talking about the swastika in my next video. And there's a whole history, 15,000 years of history preempting what is essentially the repurposing of the swastika. And it's all ignored in favor of World War II context. So if that puts it into a little bit of perspective for you, I hope that you're a little bit intrigued by what it is that I have to offer you in my next video. Coming out this Thursday, the 31st of October. Super excited about it. Hashtag the Halloween special, or hashtag Halloween special. I'm trying to make it a thing, but, you know, I don't think it's going to be, like, super big deal. I hope it is, but we'll see. I'm excited about it because I put a lot of effort into it. Researching has taken forever. Translation, the amount of fuckery is asinine. Yes, the word count tells you that exactly. The next 6 minutes, thank you for the $2 over on the Super Chats. Awesome vibes heading your way. Begins vibe sync. I feel that. I feel that on a spiritual level. It's weird to watch a woman talking reason and not being vaguely neurotic, says 99 red pills go by. You know, it's funny that you say that because I'm pretty tipsy at the moment, so I actually don't think that I'm making 100% sense every time I say something out of my face hole, but I guess I'm pretty eloquent despite that nonsense going on in my bloodstream. IOTBO on Weenie Night posted signs with "It's okay to be white" everywhere on Halloween. See, I would, but I have rehearsal that day, so I don't have a lot of opportunities to actually go nuts in regards to Halloween. The one thing that I really wanted to do was put out a nice special for you guys, and so I'm doing that, and I've almost gotten it completely set up. I just have to film it, edit it, upload it. I'm super excited about that, and my other monitor just decided to go to sleep on me. It's fine. What else we got? Zombie Teddy, appropriated from the Irish. We don't care about that bullshit. We're too drunk to care. You know, normally I don't give a crap about cultural appropriation. But in the case where we have hypocrites talking nonsense about cultural appropriation, and in the same breath we're also talking about just handing over these things, these symbols, these traditions to, you know, hate-filled bigots or whatever, just without a second thought, I have to hesitate and be like, hang on now. Question. Why are we doing this? What's going on here? This seems ridiculous. And so that's what this video is about. It's about pointing out hypocrisy. And it seems like, to me, quite honestly, with the truly oppressed minority stuff, you know, the redhead oppression and such, and the fan art supremacy video that I put out a few weeks ago, it seems like I do that quite often, and I'm pointing out hypocrisy. And I understand why that is, right? I cannot abide that level of just, well, it's okay when we do it, but not when you do it, to such an extreme, to the point where people get dogpiled, to the point where people get accosted in real life and on the internet by random strangers that they don't know, because people can't simply understand context, I guess. Thank you to Race Jacobson for the $1 over on the Streamlabs. Would you play more video games if we made it worth your while? Donate now to the Weebo Jones Twitch Career Fund. Submit your requests on Patreon. Also, are you going to dress up as a female Nightwing for Halloween? Not the special, but IRL. Actually, I was going to dress up as Detective Jones. Here's the thing, right? For as long as I can remember, I've trick-or-treated. This has not stopped as I've gotten to college, and I fully intend on doing so this year, even if it's just a few houses. But this year, I've kind of simplified my costume, because last year I was the Tana, the year before that I was the Joker. Or no. I can't remember what I was sophomore year. No. Sophomore year, I was the Joker. Freshman year, I can't remember what I was. Yeah. No, I cannot remember what I was freshman year for the life of me. Goddamn. Which is fine. But I have trick-or-treated every single year since I was at least 0 years of age. Because I take this very seriously. Halloween is my favorite holiday of the season, or of the year. But I simplified it this year. And I got my Halloween costume as also a costume that I would use for my channel, for a character that I've been working on. You guys might have witnessed Detective Jones. Are you familiar with this character? You probably see Detective Jones in a lot of Weebo Noir videos. which I have a lot of fun making. I gotta admit, the editing process is very soothing because the music that I use for those videos is always very jazzy sounding. And so finding the music, one, is a hassle, but it's also very, very calming to me for someone who's always listening to not jazzy music. But the costume is always fun. The way that I approach the videos is always rather enjoyable. And they're not by any means my most popular videos, but they're still a lot of fun to make because I get to take on a role that I don't normally do. And the same thing goes with the Miss Meandry videos. I have another character that I'm working on too. My patrons know this actually. He's a Russian. It's for a video that I'm working on. I actually got a whole ass fur coat for this character, and it's a dude, by the way. This character is a dude, which means that I have to sport a mustache. He's kind of along the same lines of the character that I used in the communist steps to success video. That's not the title of it, but it's on the channel. It's communism, a step-by-step guide to success. That's the name of the video. I had a lot of fun making that too. It was a stand-up video, and I borrowed a whole bunch of attire from the costume shop to actually make that a reality. And it was a good time because I got to pretend to use a fake Russian accent, and I was not half bad if I do say so myself, and I do. You know what? I'll go grab it. I'll go grab the coat for the Russian. Oh, I'm gonna trip over stuff. This is not something that you do when you are tipsy, ladies and gentlemen. I got this. I hope you guys can hear me. If not, this is super awkward. I got this coat, right? Got it from a Goodwill for like $6. And it's not a bad coat. Look at this. All I need now is an actual mustache and one of those fur hats that matches it. I think it's like a fox fur coat, but I'm not 100% sure. Here, let's look. It smells like my grandma. But, you know, that's fine. I can deal with that. I saw my grandma this afternoon. She was quite all right. It doesn't have a tag? Yeah. Okay. All right. No, it does not have a tag, but it's fine. This is what it looks like. Here's an idea of what it is that the character is going to look like, right? The character's name is Boris Rushnikov, and that's all you're going to get in terms of spoilers, because the actual name or the actual purpose of this video is oh, I'm super excited about it. Super excited. Ooh, it's actually, I can use this in real life. That's what I like about this. That's why I wait to get costumes until it is that, like, I can probably utilize this. Yeah, and it fits really well. I could use this in real life when it is. Ooh, look at the size of that pocket. Look at that. Yeehaw. Huh. I like this. Sorry, I'm super easily distracted. I have not been diagnosed with any disorders in the attention deficit area, but to be quite honest, if that were the case, I would not be surprised, and I bet you guys wouldn't be either. Is it real fur? As far as I can tell, yeah. And I've felt real fur. Nana Jones is quite the fur enthusiast. If that makes any sense? She just got away with expensive things. We talked about this last week. She only got a $25 allowance every week from my grandpa, but somehow she still managed to get it to last. Those poor minks. I don't think it's a mink coat. I think it might be fox fur, but I have 100% no idea. Check the pockets. Yeah, Boris Rushnikov. That is the name of the character that I will be introducing to the channel at some point as a regular, hopefully. And it's a play on words. I think it's rather clever of me. Boris being like a generic Russian Slavic name, but Rushnikov is Russia knockoff. If I were to like squish that all together. Clever. Weebo is a Russian assnet. Thank you, Renovatio. Oh boy. My co-host is super late. I'm going to have to change the thumbnail. It's just going to be the Weebo show for a solid hour. You know. I could ask a certain trans person to join me. What are you up to, m'lady? I hope she's not busy, but we'll see. I spelled m'lady so wrong. You have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, I have very tiny sausage fingers. You see these? These are not conducive to a fun time with the keyboard. So anything that I do type is usually pretty ridiculous looking. It's fine. We power through it. It's not a big deal. Havoc, Vladimir. I wish I could read better. Vladimirovich Stalinov. If it makes you feel any better, I've got the attention span of a mentally handicapped. Ooh. Ooh. We were loading for a hot second there. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Pear water. Such delectable. Thank you to Lion Patriot for the $5 over on the Streamlabs. 30 minutes and Polly is dead to me. Oh, sorry. 34 minutes and Polly is dead to me. 34 minutes and Polly is dead to me. I'm sorry. Polly! Polly! It's fine. Are you busy? None of your business. It's funny because Polly says his custom status is none of your business, but like as the co-host, I feel like it might be a little bit of my business, but we'll power through it. Polly probably fell down the stairs again. That would be unfortunate. I've fallen down the stairs a multitude of times, and quite honestly, it's not fun. It's not fun at all. I don't enjoy it. Okay, now I have the sound back on. What did I miss? I don't know what you missed the next 6 minutes, but it probably wasn't anything super entertaining. I don't have anyone to play off of in terms of talking, but I have you guys. I have the chat. That's fine. All 44 of you will make this tolerable. We'll turn this into a sense of a sort of, how do I put this? A conversation between me and the audience, right? So I'll have a good time regardless of what it is that happens. I can deal with it. Can you? Hopefully. Could be dyed rabbit. Care tag with the type of fur could be on pocket liner or on inner sleeve. You know what? Let me grab the coat again. Let's see. Let's see if we can find out what kind of coat this is. So I saw a whole bunch of writing on the inner pocket right here, so we're gonna look at it. It's Ganex, the best all-weather cloth in the world. Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth Manufacturing and Supplies. No. Tailored by Kagan Textiles Ltd. That doesn't tell me a lot. Maybe the other pocket will tell me more. Hot diggity, this is faded as heck. No. That doesn't tell me anything. It feels like real fur. That's the thing, because I felt real fur before. Like I said, Nana Jones has a tendency to go super expensive on things, because that's what you really want to do, right? If you're gonna invest in something, do it in the long term, right? So if you're gonna buy a nice coat that's super expensive. It's gonna last you a long time. If you're gonna buy a pair of nice boots, buy a nice pair of boots that's gonna last you a super long time. Do not cheap out on investments, right, people? That is the lesson of the day from your girl Weebo Jones. Do not cheap out on investments. You're welcome. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Duck Dog, if you want a teddy bear made out of that coat, this guy makes them. Oh, did you link me to something and I didn't get it? Inside the cuffs. Okay, hang on. Give me this coat bag. See, I don't feel bad about just whipping it around and throwing it around my room. Like, it's not a big deal. Because I spent all of $6 on this bitch. Dude, let me tell you. Goodwill is the way to go in terms of cheap clothing objects. And if you need something for a costume, that is how you do. That is how you make do. I like dressing up. I don't know about you guys, but I like dressing up and playing a completely different character so ridiculously that it entertains you guys and makes you laugh. So when I had when I was doing the ASMR stuff for the last video, I had, despite the fact that I abhor, no, not abhor, that I find ASMR to be an abhorrent pastime and it just makes me cringe all the live long day. Despite that fact, I had quite a time making that video for you guys. It was a good time. And the reason being is because I wasn't taking it super seriously. Yeah, I don't see anything in the sleeve, so I guess we're just going to have to deal with the fact that we don't know what kind of fur this is. It could be elephant. Wait. No, it couldn't. It couldn't be elephant. No, it can't be elephant. It can't be elephant. It cannot be elephant. But if it were, that would be a lot of elephants. Oh my god. I only had 1 tequila shot. And like a drink and a half of beer. I'm already that far gone. You see, I told you I was a lightweight, didn't I? Zombie Teddy, is she talking really fast or am I that drunk? Yes. Best video making method I've found so far. Yeah, here's the thing, all right? A lot of content creators on the internet take this as seriously as is like a 9-to-5 job. This is your career. You fuck up, you fuck up. You lose subscribers. It's stressful. I'm even talk about it like, oh, we have to spend 6 months producing this specific video, so we have to plot it out 6 months in advance. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, but like I just get an idea maybe 2 weeks before it is that I have the idea, or maybe a month, give or take. Or in this case, the video this week, it's I don't know, 3 months. I get the idea for the video maybe 3 months in advance, and then I put it on my list of things to do, and then maybe I'll casually grab some sources, pay attention to things, bookmark some sources that I want to address in this video, and then come 1 or 2 weeks before it is that I actually want to post the video, I'll start typing out and plunking out a nice script. Maybe in that week I'll find some costume stuff, some sets. I like to minimalize the stuff because I don't have a lot of things available to me, so anything that I can do is probably going to be limited to what I can do right here in front of this camera right now. Or if I can like maybe rent a room at the library to do something in, then sure, I'll do that. Race, I already touched your Streamlabs unless it's not loaded. Yeah, I got the one from, oh, no, I just saw the one from 7 minutes ago. Thank you, Race, for the $1 over on the Streamlabs. Press 1 in chat if you want Weebo to play Batman Arkham games on a live stream and squee when Nightwing enters stage left. Ha. But we're going back to what it was that I said about production, right? A lot of people take this 100% too seriously for my tastes. This to me is not a job. This is a hobby, but it's something that I have fun doing. It's something that I enjoy. So it's not super stressful if maybe it's not perfect 100% of the time, right? If I make mistakes, I expect you guys to, one, call me out on it, make a big, hilarious fit about it. It's fine. It's not a big deal because this is fun. Does that make sense? I enjoy this because it's a hobby, because it's not a full-time job, because it's not something that I go into thinking it's do or die. And because of that, a lot of the feeling of like I have to perform 100%, I have to do everything 200%, that weight is lifted off my chest. Because the moment this does become a job, the moment this stops being as fun as it is, it's the moment that I'm just like, well, it's not worth it anymore to me. And that's my perspective on YouTube. Of course, it doesn't have to be correct. It doesn't have to be for everyone, but that's me. And I like building my audience off of this idea of if we're all laughing, if we're all having fun, if we're all having a good time, then I'm happy. And I hope you guys are happy at the same time. Sorry. My lips are dry. Streamlabs. Oh yeah, I already saw that. Still do. Have stacks of bags and reserve bags as well. Have an unopened bottle and bag from 1992. Are we talking about alcohol or what? I'm not 100% sure what's going on here. Yeah, by the way, if you guys do want to donate, you don't have to. It's no sweat off my back. I have a day job too. It's fine. I'm a barista. I make coffee for people. It's fine. But if you did want to donate, there is a link in the description. Yes, to Polly's as well, even though he's not here. But, you know, we're trying to fundraise for that man to get him a nice laptop setup. Something that will substantially facilitate his online shenanigans like we have here. I managed to, with my audience, culminate enough funds to actually not just produce my own PC and, you know, audio-visual setup, but I also managed to fund an entire new laptop when mine crapped out. And so the fact that I could do that is super, super amazing. I think, frankly, you guys are pretty awesome. And 100%, I feel obligated to spread the love. Does that make sense? Yeah. So even if he's not here, give Polly some love. Maybe you don't have to donate to him, but subscribe if you feel. Oh my gosh, it's Polly! Hang on, let me grab my headphones so I can hear him. It's funny that he comes around only when it is that I've been endorsing him. Polly, it's like you heard that I was talking about you.
I could sense it in the air.
I was telling them to go donate to you even though you're not here. So
oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it. What is that? Some plot to make me feel extra horrible?
A little bit. Why are you so late, buddy?
You know, let me tell you something.
All right, tell me something.
The designated drivers I know they may be designated to be drivers. It doesn't mean they're designated to be punctual.
That's fair. that is entirely fair, Polly.
So we're getting together over at my friend's place, right? And it's like, well, we're gonna be drinking. And I said, yeah. So who's driving? And it's like, I'll drive. And we're in a conference call, and I'm like, you're not drinking? It's like, no. It's like, no, I'll drive. I'm like, okay. And so I was relying on somebody else to drive, and I didn't even drink that much. I might be just over the legal limit, so enough to require a designated driver. But
that's fair.
2 drinks in one shot. That's
wait,
that's
what
enough.
Drinks of exactly, like mixed drinks or beers or wines.
Beer.
Yeah.
Two beers in a single shot in like an hour and a half.
That will put me over. That will not put you over.
I thought it was going to be more than that.
Speaking
I
of
didn't need a designated driver, but it was still the right call. Drinking and driving, stupid. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
That's for real though. Don't do it. So.
But speaking of alcohol, Polly, you should know that tonight I am drinking tequila shots.
I saw the bottle of tequila behind you, and I'm thinking, holy shit, is Weeb drink?
Yep.
Do you drink like I like to drink tequila?
Like with the citrus fruit and the salt?
Yeah, man.
Fuck yeah. I have lemons here. I have the ability to chop them up right here in front of me, and I have a whole thing of salt because I planned ahead for this nonsense. I went out and I got all of the lemons that the school could give me from their little fancy store. Sweet. And so I'm just
you're doing it the back of the hand too. I like it. A woman of class. I'm down.
A woman of class. Thank you. Yes, she says that she's wearing a hat and barely any makeup. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's not like I have to meet with my partners for data mining later tonight to talk about our project that's due tomorrow morning.
Nice.
I do. It's
I
fun.
like displays of responsibility.
Well, here's the thing. I did most of the project already by myself. It works. The only thing that I have left to do is to answer some context questions about, oh, how does k-fold cross-validation work in respect to this thing? And also here are some data points and some plots. And how would the data be altered if you did this thing instead of used all of the data from everything? So I'm going to take my shot now, and you talk to the audience.
Well, what I'm going to do is go ahead and read this super chat from Streamlabs from Lion Patriot. 18 more minutes and you would have been dead to me, Polly. Thank you, Lion Patriot. I appreciate it.
I'm going to die. It's fine. That did not go down as smooth as the last one did. I did not get enough salt on my hand. It's okay. I have my pear water here.
Pear water.
It's Fuji apple and pear water.
Really?
It's 0 calories, and it tastes delicious, Polly.
All right.
Drink it with ice, though, because it's too strong if you don't. Beer ain't a drink, says Still Do. I would agree with you, but I'm a lightweight, so yes, it does count as a drink.
Is that an insulated cocktail shaker behind you?
This? No, this is a Blue Yeti.
Yeah.
Quite literally a Blue Yeti.
Oh, is it a Blue Yeti? Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Yeti. Gotcha.
It is a Blue Yeti, but it's so if you're familiar with the brand of coolers called Yeti,
I am.
my family endorses them heavily.
Like they get paid to, or they just really like them?
We really like them. My dad's got a cooler. My uncle's got a cooler. I'm probably going to get a cooler when I graduate college. My cousin's probably going to get one when he graduates in May as well. We have the big ones. We have all of the small little tumbler ones. It's kind of insane. Dad wants to get a small one for ice and then a bigger one for all of the drinks that we drink.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a problem because it's an expensive endorsement too.
It is.
It is.
It is. You know what I want to buy one day that's like this completely expensive and stupid, overly the top luxurious thing I want to buy?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the nitrogen injected insulated mugs?
Yes.
The hyper light ones? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They have one that's made out of titanium, a titanium alloy, plus it's nitrogen injected, so it wants to float in air, and because it's made out of titanium, it's ultra light. To pick it up, you'd swear that it's trying to like float on you. I just like, what's the point in that? It's cool. That's the point in it. It's basically, all you're carrying around is the weight of the liquid inside. I love this idea.
When it comes to chronic drinking habits, you want to invest heavily in things that are going to take you the extra mile.
Yes.
So obviously, invest in the expensive coolers that is going to keep your drinks cold for 24, 48 hours straight, because that's a healthy investment. Invest in the wine rack that's going to keep all of your wine in it. Invest in the expensive ass glasses that's going to make your wine taste like it's freaking been, juiced by the gods.
Well, it was made on the juicer of the gods.
They stepped on those grapes with their own bare feet. Cleaned in the river Styx.
Well, no, who would want that? Ugh.
Polly, who are you to complain?
The river Styx?
Polly, what river would you prefer the gods clean their feet in?
Some crystal clear pool up on Olympus.
The Nile?
No river at all. Some river that humans don't have access to. Some super special like cleansing pool that only they can use. That's
yeah, no one else has access to this special fancy cleansing pool that
Hey, I got a question for you, Weebs. You're all into the classical world and the like and the such.
Yes, I am.
Have you seen 300, the film? Hear me out. Have you seen 300, the film?
Yes.
Okay. Have you read or know of the document or graphic novel that it's based on, Frank Miller's 300?
No. Wait.
Okay.
That's the case?
Oh man, you should see it. You'd get a kick out of it.
Is it better or worse than the 300 film?
Have you seen Sin City?
No. But I know of it.
Okay. like you know the look of Sin City, the way that it looks.
Yes.
Okay.
Everything is black and white unless it's red, in which case it's very red.
Yeah, and it really looks like a comic book come to life, right?
Yeah.
They went out of their way to do that. That's in that same kind of style. If you look at the graphic novels that make up 300 or that make up Sin City, they really tried to make Frank Miller's work come to life in Sin City, and they did a good job. Same thing with 300. If you look at 300, it's like, I remember this exact scene and this exact scene. Oh, wow. They just used this graphic novel as a literal storyboard, didn't they? Yes. You know what I mean? And so is it the same or better? It's the same thing. So it's fascinating to read what a good job they did bringing the graphic novel to life. And you get a sense that Frank Miller is kind of he's really into super hard-boiled noir, which is kind of why I dig Frank Miller's work so much. But anyway.
It was a very long time ago that I saw the 300 movie. From a classics perspective, it doesn't hold up, but from a aesthetics perspective, in what you were describing, you know, the noir perspective, the comic book perspective, it does, I will say. But it depends on where it is that you're coming from. As someone that is a historical classics, I want to say hardliner, but someone who has invested entirely too much of their time in the accuracy behind the classics and studying the archaeology and reading the myths. It's not everything, but it's an entertaining movie.
Okay, well, I hear you, but this was the thing. I saw a video the other day. Do you know Dr. Lehman? Remember content creator Dr. Lehman?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, he's so awesome.
He is, but his voice is really hard to get over. And I feel so bad for saying it because he puts out really good content. It's just his voice. And I understand because I have one of those voices. Either you love it or you don't, but his voice. Yeah, well,
his voice. I hear people say that about, what's his name? V. You know, Sargon's buddy, V.
He sounds like a Muppet, and I'm sorry, but he does.
Like, it's that movie and the graphic novel of 300 are so far gone. They're so over the top. Lehman did this video where he's like, why 300 is secretly brilliant. And I watched it and I completely agreed with him on everything he's doing. You guys should totally go watch it if you like 300. And I see some people saying in chat that it's worth 300's a must see. Spirit Thief says so, and 6 and so forth. Yeah, you're not supposed to take it as it's supposed to be a propaganda film, not for us, but for him. The whole graphic novel is told as one guy telling a story that's deliberately exaggerated. It's the guy standing around the fire trying to enthuse the other Spartan soldiers about the story of the brave 300 that died at the pass. He's exaggerating on purpose. He wasn't even there to witness a whole bunch of the events that he's describing. He described how they died. Obviously, he wasn't there when they died. He had left long before. You know, there's even the moment in the film where Leonidas is telling him, you're a brave soldier indeed, but you have one gift that the other soldiers don't have. And that's his voice and his ability to tell stories. Go tell everyone what happened here. The movie begins with him walking around a giant campfire telling all the soldiers, and this is our brave King Leonidas. The whole film is, as Lehman says, it's a lie, and it's telling you that it's a lie. That's why it's so over the top. And that's why Lehman argues it's secretly brilliant, because the whole thing is this is what happened at Thermopylae, and these 300 died, and it's because of Leonidas that we will survive. And, you know, the hordes we were fighting, you wouldn't believe they had monsters and rhinoceroses and, you know, and elephants. Hardly.
But you know what? It makes the point all the more clear.
Yeah, so it's a war story. Some guys over-exaggerated, enthused the troops, war story. So if you feel that it's not historical, it's like, what? It's one guy's exciting story. Of course, it's not historical. Anyway, that video is worth watching. It made me want to go watch 300 over again. I just watched Lehman's video, yesterday. It made me want to go watch 300 again because I haven't seen it in a while.
I wish I had enough time to watch all of the documentaries about historical wars and stuff that I wanted to, because I could live just watching all of them in rapid succession. You know, Balak, my housemate, who lives right back there. You heard of him yesterday, last week. He watched the entire Netflix Rome series.
Oh man, how fun was that series?
I've only gotten halfway through. I've gotten to Vercingetorix's stand, and Julius Caesar's double wall, which I just found to be quite hilarious. The only way that worked was because it was Julius Caesar doing it in that moment at that time with what was going on. Anyone else, any other variables that had gone into that, and it would not have worked, but it did, despite the fact that it was an impossible situation for the Romans. If you're not familiar with this, right? So Julius Caesar chases what was it? It was the German. For the life of me, I can't remember. It was German tribes all the way to a central point. Vercingetorix was leading these people, and he'd gone scorched earth on the land surrounding it. So the Romans couldn't reap the harvest of the land around them while it is that they're traveling. So they were essentially starving themselves, trying to subdue this group of tribes, right? And so they managed to centralize at this one point, and then Julius Caesar builds a wall around them, and then the rest of the tribes decide that they're going to also come up against the Roman force that has settled in this area, trying to starve out Vercingetorix's group of rebellious people, right? And so he builds a wall around the wall that he's already surrounded himself with. So there are two walls. There's the inner wall that houses all of Vercingetorix's troops, and then there's the Romans, and then there's a second wall surrounding Vercingetorix and the Romans that keeps out any support that Vercingetorix was going to have. And somehow, some way, against all odds, the Romans, Julius Caesar, managed to subdue and counteract that invading force that they had built the second wall around, the second wall to keep out the second force. It just blew my freaking mind, and I didn't know this until I started watching the documentary, and I really want to watch more of it, but I haven't the time. Polly, I haven't the time.
I haven't the damn time.
I'm so salty
you
about it.
You know what kills me about that? And your roommate, since he's a quasi-Latin guy.
Yeah. No, he is a literal classical archaeology major. He would have had a double major in Latin as well, but he did not want to take the time to write that thesis. Because think about it. No. A foreign language thesis in a dead language is just not a good thing. And plus he wants to go to grad school, so he's got other things to worry about. But yes, he's super into history in that respect.
I love that the majority of stuff that's known from what happened during the Gaelic Wars is coming from Caesar's own commentaries on the Gaelic Wars.
Yes.
And as I understand it, the Latin, again, as I understand it, because I certainly haven't read it myself, I'm not nearly brave enough to try and take on Latin. Every student who studies Latin is going to be reading Caesar's commentaries, Bello in Gallium, or whatever it's called, because it's written in this very simple, very readable, but very proper form of Latin for everyone to be able to read, because that's what Caesar wanted. So everyone's read it. And it's like, is that what actually happened there? Well, generally, but we're kind of relying upon the trustworthiness of this completely unreliable narrator to tell us, because he's always, of course, making his own troops sound awesome. And the savages he's fighting sound that much more awful. And it's like some of it can be independently verified, but most of it you're relying upon Caesar telling you what happened. It's interesting.
And these people at the time, they didn't have so much as a written language that actually denoted exactly what was going on for them. So we don't have a written account of the other side's perspective of what was going on. We only have the Roman perspective. So we have to kind of gauge from that perspective exactly what went on for both sides. And that's always super confusing. But in archaeology, it's always super confusing. Can I take like 5 seconds to go to the bathroom because I really gotta go?
You totally can.
All right, entertain the masses, Polly, while I'm gone.
I will. I'll entertain the nice people.
Thank you, dear.
Okay. This is Kyle Says. So, basically, a great example of what history is in general. You know when people say history is a lie that's agreed upon? That's a little too black-pilled for me. It's a basic narrative that's agreed upon. Interestingly, Dr. Lehman, again, has another video where he talks about what's the greatest lie in history. And being who he is, he says, the greatest lie in history is history itself. The idea that there is something called the Renaissance. Like, when did it begin? When did it end? His point being that there's a difference between historical occurrences. You can date when his examples, the Treaty of Versailles happened, or the Treaty of Paris happened, or, when D-Day occurred, the landing at Normandy. Those are historical events, and you can pin them down and you know what happened there. But when did World War II start? When did the Revolutionary War start? There's a big thing that a lot of the American Revolutionary War start. Did it start with the Boston Massacre? Did it start with the seizing of colonial ships and the taxations and theft of their property that started the original arguments for property rights that the colonists as freeborn Englishmen should have? And the first time they fired on British soldiers who tried to thieve their property, which happened 15 or 20 years before the first shot of the Revolutionary War started. Yeah, I get it. I think you can deduce a lot fuzzier boundaries around historical events and end up being more honest. I love this line that I'm not a historian, but I love this line that historians do. This is a more responsible historical reconstruction. I love that line, as opposed to a clear-cut narrative that has nice, fine boundaries. The Lakers are the oiliest and the stinkiest. Are you guys talking about fish? You're talking about fish, aren't you? Oh, excuse me. And Jacob Jett is here. Hey, Jacob, what's going on? I want Weebs to come back because I want to continue to press her about the classical era because she likes it, and I don't know anybody else that's into the classical era that didn't graduate already and move on. Go and get a job and have a life, that kind of thing. Yeah, still do says fish. Oh, so talking about fish. That's cool. That's cool. Speaking of fish, I don't know what it is, but there's a bunch of people, Ben Shapiro, this guy named David Wood, all content creators on YouTube that are, Weebs is back.
I'm back. Sorry. I had to go to the bathroom. You ever heard of the term broke the seal, Polly, in your college years? Like in the early years?
You mean the sanitary seal that they put on the toilet?
No. Like breaking the seal. Like you go to the bathroom while you're drinking, and then you realize that every 5 minutes you feel like you have to go to the bathroom after that. You've never heard of this?
No. Well, okay. I have, of course, heard going to the bathroom multiple times while you're drinking, but not the idea. So the first time you go to the bathroom, you've
broken the seal.
You've opened the floodgates, have you?
Exactly. And so it's just a rapid succession of I have to go. That's what's happening right now. Okay, Pete has heard of it. See, it's not something that's unique to my school. Thank you. Draining the lizard.
Let me ask you a question. Did you guys have a different name for every night of the week that meant it was time to drink?
No.
No?
Wait, what did you have?
Well, the bars around campus that everybody would drink at. Like Wednesdays were Wet Wednesdays, Thursdays were Thirsty Thursdays, Friday, et cetera. No.
Polly, what you have to understand is that I go to a school with a predominant fraternity life on campus,
Right.
even if they are a dry fraternity. They're not a dry fraternity. And so they have theme nights, and not all of them are relegated to the weekends. So I mean, they have theme nights, and I'm not usually one to go to a fraternity party. I think I've only been to like 3 in my time here at school, which, you know, I'm perfectly fine with. I prefer to have a small group of people that I'm drinking socially with, just because I like to be able to hear myself think and hear the other person talk back at me. And you can't do that at a fraternity house. But I also like the idea of not having to grind up all on some rando and pregame, because that seems extra. Plus, I don't like hams, and that's all that they serve at these fraternity parties. You ever had hams, Polly? It's like piss water. Disgusting.
I have had hams, but it's more of a PBR joint that I went to.
Yeah, I prefer hard alcohol and or something better. Anything better.
You didn't shotgun beers? I mean, that's where like hams and PBR and so forth are.
No. The only time I've ever shotgunned a beer was when I was doing an Irish car bomb. That was last year.
Right.
And I almost died. And by died, I mean like I almost puked, but I didn't. I've yet to actually have a hangover at college or in any capacity. I've yet to have a hangover, blackout, throw up, any of the nonsense that happens when you drink. Never done it. And I get pretty wasted pretty easily, so it's like
I've noticed.
Oh, have you? Have you, Polly? I was imagine why.
I know you came up last night, and so did Cocktail Hour on Noir Bar over on my channel. They
I did. We did.
Yeah, we're talking about it. It's like, yeah. It's like, so do you guys actually drink? And I was like, yeah, of course we do. It's called Cocktail Hour. It's not exactly a secret. I said, and Weeb, I was, your boy Pat was on. He was hanging out.
I love Pat.
Yeah, it was your boy Pat and Far Zeus me were keeping company with me at the bar. And the guests are those people I refer to as keeping company with me at the bar.
Of course.
And then Jack Cochran stumbled in after a little while. You know how it is. Random drunk stumbles into the saloon. And it's like, so you do cocktail hour? I say, yeah, our cocktail hour is 90 minutes because we drink. You know how it is. And we have a good time, but Weebs, bless her heart, gets loaded pretty quick. And, you know, she's Polish, so she gets that red drinker's face happening pretty soon. Bless her heart.
Oh, I do. It's true. I'm sorry. No, I'm not.
Well, and as the old line that I learned in undergrad goes, it's a good thing if you're a lightweight because
I'm a cheap date.
Well, yeah, and because if you're a lightweight, you get to do it for cheap, and if she's a lightweight, you get to do her for cheap.
We'll have to ask El Boyfriendo Supreme when it is that I ever get him on this stream as like an actual guest person, but he'd probably tell you, yeah.
So hold on, where was I going with this?
I don't know. You said something about we were talking about Cocktail Hour on Noir Bar last night, yada yada yada.
Oh man, like 4 subjects before that, I was on to something I can't even remember.
Vercingetorix.
Oh well, not that far back, but we were talking about him too. Okay. In the general Mediterranean area, you reminded me. There's a whole bunch of content creators: Ben Shapiro, David Wood, other people that like. What is it? What's the draw to Israel right now? Because they're all over in Israel right now.
They are all in Israel, as in like physically there, or they're talking about it, or
no, they're physically there.
I haven't the foggiest, quite frankly. Polly, what you have to understand is that I don't have the luxury of inundating myself with the nonsense that goes on the internet in excess. I mean, sometimes I do, certainly, and I attempt to, definitely, but I don't know why they would be in Israel right now at this moment in such capacity as they are.
Yeah, somebody said to me, well, it must be some like high holiday holy time for Jews, and it's like, okay, Ben Shapiro's definitely a Jew, but David Wood isn't. Like, so what's the draw?
Let me Google it. Why? Nope, not YouTube. Shh. Why? Nope, that's not a why.
Here's a matching video.
What the fuck? Did you hear that?
Here's a matching video.
I don't know what's going on. Why are there so many political commentators in Israel? This is going to be an interesting question. We'll see what happens. Nope. The very first result from 5 days ago. Israel seems paralyzed, but is the system broken? From the New York Times. And I can't read it because I don't have a subscription. Sorry. Here, let's go to the news. Oh, political commentator isn't plural. Sorry. Excuse me. Are they really all in Israel at the moment?
Well, just maybe, I don't know. There are a few YouTube content creators that I watch that all happen to be in Israel right now. That's what I mean.
Interesting.
And none of them are all of the same religious persuasion, and they're not all Jewish. So it's like, what, is this just a weird coincidence? Anyway, David Wood's walking around, and he's got his phone out, and he's like, Israel day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, that sort of thing, right? And they're just 15-minute videos showing his clips. And there's like, here's some of the things that are available at a buffet breakfast, part of the Mediterranean diet. A lot of...
Sorry.
What?
No, you just reminded me of my trip to Greece.
It all looked actually really, really good. I was down. Lots of olives, lots of vegetables, lots of fish. I would be okay with different kinds of fish for breakfast. And that's what made me think of it, because chat is talking about all sorts of wonderful different kinds of fish. And I'm a big fan of seafood. So
have you ever had lox and bagels for breakfast?
Yeah, I have.
I don't know what it is, but it's delicious, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you wouldn't think that would be a good breakfast thing, but I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm. It's quite delicious. When I went to Greece, we definitely had a whole bunch of interesting assortments of foods that we hadn't been privy to prior. Because in America, a lot of breakfast foods are like wheat, grains, carbs, fruits, maybes, and all that jazz. But overseas, especially in the Mediterranean, you see a lot of focus on vegetables. So we had salad for breakfast, like a feta cheese and cucumber salad. We had actual plain yogurt and some honey that you could add to it, coffee. We had, oh God, there was a whole bunch of stuff, but predominantly I would eat the yogurt and the salad as well in the morning, because I don't know, it was just, there's something so good about it. And then as you progress throughout the day, things would get a little bit more normalized. Of course, when you get to dinner, you have the option. Complimentary wine is a predominant thing that you get when you're in the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
What's funny is when I went on my Greece trip, my professor said, now the school is not going to be paying for your alcohol, so you're going to have to pay for it yourself. But when I got there, it was complimentary wine at every dinner. And then we actually went to a vineyard in Greece, like in the middle of the trip, and it was great. They taught us the intricacies of tasting wine. So we got to learn how to aerate it with our own like bare mouths, so you don't have to have the actual little thing that you pour the wine into to aerate it itself. You can just do it by yourself.
Thing. Yeah.
You just slurp it essentially from the wine glass, and then supposedly you're not supposed to grab a white wine by the glass. You're supposed to grab it by the stem. But a red wine. What are you trying to do?
Warm it up? Come on.
There's that, but also you get the fingerprints on the wine glass a lot of the time, and so it's distracting, and you don't want that as much. And then we also learned how to smell wine. But the thing is that I want to reiterate here is that my professor specifically said the school would not be paying for any alcohol for any of us going on the trip, yet for some reason we found ourselves at a vineyard halfway through the trip, and we got to buy like $2 bottles of wine directly from the vineyard that probably would have cost upwards of $100 when we got back to the States because of customs and what have you. I actually managed to smuggle a whole bottle in my suitcase. So bad.
International smuggler. Awful.
Yep, I'm an international smuggler now.
Hold on, chat's saying all kinds of interesting things. Ryan Walters is, didn't you hear about the Israeli Halloween protests I didn't, but I'll look that up, unless of course he's making shit up just to screw with me, and that doesn't mean anything. But no, I haven't. I'm curious. I will look that up. And Sergeant Wang and Troubadour are both saying I sound like Black Pigeon Speaks. Okay, because I'm really black pilled, or you just mean my voice sounds like Black Pigeon Speaks? Or
I think it's your voice.
It's my voice.
It's probably your voice.
Oh, I'll go with that, I guess. I don't know.
Because it's got this timbre of just bass.
Dude, but I don't, that old thing, you never sound like you think you do when you hear your voice recorded.
Well, certainly, but you can get an idea, and you do sound very deep in your voice pitch. As someone who is classically trained, as someone who has been singing for most of their life, I could definitely tell. You do sound like Black Pigeon Speaks.
Wild, because I don't think a Black Pigeon Speaks is having a particularly baritone or resonant voice. Maybe he does. I should go listen. Now I'm curious to go listen to Black Pigeon Speaks talk again to see what you mean. When I listen to myself recorded, are you one of those people that's irked by the sound of your own voice, Weebs, when you're doing editing?
I'm not, but that's because there are a whole bunch of other things that are annoying me. For instance, the length of time that I spent on a video when I talk. I'm like, God damn it, I'm going to have to edit out 5 whole minutes of this raw footage because I just spent so much time fucking up this one section, and it's going to take me 2 whole ass hours to go through it and get it the way that I want it to, but whatever,
man.
My voice is the least of my concerns, Polly.
No, well, that's actually a good suggestion. See, I should focus on other ways I'm fucking up more than the sound of my voice.
I spilled pear water all over my fucking jeans. God damn it.
Well, it's okay. You said it's tasteless, so it won't like.
No. It tastes like pear and Fuji apples, but it's calorie-less.
Oh, okay.
It has no calories. So it's
well,
fine.
I got a whole bunch of people saying they like the sound of my voice. That's a good thing because it's irksome to. I've heard some actors say they can't stand to, like screen actors. I mean, they can't stand to watch themselves, like go to premieres of films they're in and shit like that. It's just really weird to watch myself on film. I can actually understand that. That might sound weird to hear a professional actor say that, but it's like, no, I could see that. I'm into the performance. I'm into acting, but just watching myself on screen, it's creepy. It's strange. I don't like it. I don't like listening to myself talk when I'm editing videos together. I don't know why.
I can only watch myself when I know that I haven't fucked up in a video. Otherwise, it's too cringy. My brother, he has the opposite problem. He cannot watch me in a video because he thinks it's super cringy because he knows me. We've lived together. We've known each other since he was born. So,
yeah.
Big sister in this capacity doing anything like this.
I'm just looking through. Holy crap. I love how active chat is here. You guys are awesome. There's all sorts of conversation going on.
It's nice, isn't it?
Well, it is, because sometimes you'll tune into someone's live stream, and even though there's a bunch of people watching, like in excess of 300, a comment will come in like every 30 to 60 seconds. Here, chat's all active and talking. It's great.
Churdator de Direta Vegano. Oh my god, I butchered that. I'm so sorry. Weebo's brother is a musician. He plays violin, piano, guitar. He could play the clarinet. He has an accordion from our grandfather. He's a very, very talented little boy. He writes his own music. At some point, I'll get him to write something for the channel, and maybe we'll endorse him. But because he uses our last name in his channel to endorse his musical career, it's going to be a little bit tricky. Because he decided that he wanted to endorse the family name with his musical career. And I'm just like, we're going to come up with something completely different. I don't want that heat. Does that make sense?
It does. Oh, Duck Dog, you always come by and say the sweetest things. I appreciate that.
Wah, wah.
So you never picked up a musical instrument with your brother being so musically inclined?
Oh, no, of course I did. My entire family can play at least the violin. If not, in my case, I can play the piano as well as the guitar, self-taught in the guitar sense. I have been singing for at least 8 years, give or take. My cousins can all play the violin with a range of ability in terms of the piano and the guitar. My cousin dances. She doesn't sing, but she dances. My aunt, she's the one that taught me the violin. My grandmother can play the piano. My dad can play the guitar and the piano. We're all very musically talented to varying degrees. So
Nice.
my brother is just the one that wants to take it the extra step and make a career out of it. Compositionally, he's not that bad, actually. I could probably play you something from him. Actually, you know what? Let me do that. He sent me a text. Let me endorse my little bro for a little sec.
Does he have a channel?
He does, but it's under our last name, so I'm gonna hold off on endorsing that. But I'll tell you what my brother's name is, and maybe or not name, but I'll share with you something that he shared with me quite a bit ago that I think is actually pretty decent in terms of like jingles. I suggested to him, I said, bro, you gotta what is it? You gotta endorse yourself. You gotta do some like sort of what's the word I'm looking for? What is it called when you make music for other people? In that way.
A commission?
Yes. You gotta make music on commission for other people. Here you go. This is 52 seconds of something my brother sent me a few years ago or a few months ago.
I could see this playing during the very exciting, adventuresome part of a video game.
Yeah. This is just a small little tidbit of something that he sent me while I was at VidCon. Actually, I shared it with SDA. I'm quite proud of him. He's a good boy.
I wish I'd picked up a musical instrument. I'd like to play the trumpet, a slow, saucy, sultry trumpet.
I don't know. I always found the saxophone to be a little bit more sultry in terms of that. In terms of instruments.
I could see that. I don't know why the trumpet speaks to me, because you can also do those really loud, patriotic marching band like tracks with it too, which is cool. And all the different sizes of trumpets, a little piccolo trumpet and then your big old one. And I really want to do the when you mute a trumpet and you get the
you gotta put your hand in front of it so that you're not playing like the full capacity of the trumpet.
Yeah, man. I love watching, your jazz and big band and blues trumpeteers, and you can hear them do. Oh man, I get so jelly watching that, thinking I should start some lessons. I'd love to pick that up.
Yeah.
2 girls, 1 harp. Pete, what's going on there, man?
Okay, I wanna have a little heart to heart, right? So I was at an orchestra concert earlier today. In fact, actually, my cousin had an orchestra concert. Part of his scholarship involves his violin ability, and so he's double majoring econ and violin just for the money, right? But he was at an orchestra concert, and I went to see it, and there was a harpist there. There was a single one harpist. She was playing in the middle of, I think it was Hansel and Gretel's. I actually have the thing here. Let me double check. Hansel and Gretel's from the opera of Hansel and Gretel by Engelbert Humperdinck, Evening Prayer and Dream Pantomime, right? So she was playing during that, and I couldn't hear a lick of what it was that she was actually playing. And so I couldn't help thinking to myself, what is the point of having a harpist in the middle of a piece when you have the literal whole rest of an orchestra playing over her? Honestly. There is no point, because I couldn't hear maybe but for 5 seconds of the actual piece itself, her actually playing harp. And I have a really good ear for that stuff. So I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe if you had like 3 other harpists there, it would make a difference. But one, you're wasting the girl's time. All right, she could be doing something so much more helpful to her studies than just learning this song that she's not going to be heard for at all in the 10 minutes that she's allowed on stage. Because after that, she left. Thank you, Cynical Reviews, for stopping by. I enjoyed meeting you at VidCon. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. But yeah, the harpist had no purpose. And I don't, because I know the harpist personally. We are in the same a cappella group together. But I don't see what the point was. Except for to include her. And I feel bad saying it, but it's also true.
Okay.
Have you ever been to a musical concert where that's like, what's the point of this specific artist or this specific person playing this specific instrument?
Yeah, I went to a live performance of Handel's Messiah. Mm-hmm. And of the 100-person chorus, I don't understand number 47 at all. That person could have been gone and no one would have noticed.
Mm-hmm. At least I could hear the percussion. All right, the triangle was very, very audible, but the harpist.
You should see me. I get down on the triangle. I do the maracas like you wouldn't fucking believe.
Every time they ding that freaking piece of metal rod that's in the shape of an of an equilateral, right? Ding! I could hear it, not a bother. But the harpist, who's like just going to town on the strings, I don't know what you're trying to do. You look like you're having a great time. You look like you're making a whole bunch of nonsense in terms of sound, but I can't hear a lick of it.
Nice. Nice. I love it's like they were going to town. They were going crazy. It was like there was a force field. I couldn't hear shit.
There was nothing. And I just get that girl a microphone. Get a microphone focused on this specific instrument. Okay?
Well, okay. So, Havoc asks a great question. It's like how, Polly? Singles at number 47. Like, what did number 47 do to you, Polly? Look, Dems was jokes. Obviously, I can't single out number 47, but I'll tell you this. A friend of mine tried to get me all hyped. They're like, this is Handel's Messiah. We're talking about Handel. And I'm like, okay, I'm aware of it. Of course, the whole hallelujah, 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 that whole thing. It's like, that's where it's from. And I knew that, but I'd never seen it live. So I grabbed myself from perfectly legitimate sources, a copy of Handel's Messiah online, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm listening to it and I'm like, okay, I see where they're going with this. You have to see it live. And now I just sounded like a total, like elitist hipster. Oh, you have to see it live. It's the only way. Okay, this is the first time this is the first time I've ever seen anything like that live. But watching it, I was like, oh, I get why people say that. Because when you have this 100-person chorus backing up this group and you got the soprano singing and the whatever the mid-range voice guy is called, I'm certainly no musical expert. It was all really, really awesome. Baritone? Man. No, mid-range. What's the tenor? Okay, tenor.
Okay.
Oh man, was it sweet. The combination of vocals and the chorus and then the small group of musical instruments that they had playing it. God damn, I see why that's been played for centuries and centuries and has been enjoyed during Christmas time for centuries and centuries. It was fucking awesome. It was a big bag of fun, man.
I am a big fan of classical music, and I credit my grandmother, Nana Jones, with a lot of that because she instilled in me a deep love for the classics. In that respect, not so much in the Greek classics respect, but I have a lot of knowledge rattling around in the old noggin that, like I knew that Beethoven was deaf before I knew anything about mathematics.
Beethoven was deaf before you were born. I'm not following you.
No. I knew about Beethoven being deaf before I knew that 1 + 1 = 2. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? So in the hierarchy of knowledge, in terms of timelines, I see
what you're saying. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I knew a lot more about musical history and classical musical history specifically before I knew anything else because of my grandmother.
Nice.
Yes and no, because the way that she taught us was very Nana Jones-ish in that here is this documentary. You're going to listen to this until you die. And then you're going to play it until you get it pitched just perfectly. Because she's mostly blind. And so I would play my violin for her for hours and hours. And if I didn't get it completely right in terms of notes, because she knew all of the songs that I was playing. But if I didn't get it pitched just correctly, she would tell me to start it over again. And my dad was the same way, but he wasn't so much in tune with it. He would just wait for us to match on the piano. But yeah, if I didn't get it right the first time, I'd go back to the beginning, start it over from the beginning, and play it all the way through until I fucked up or finished the song. And then we could move on. And so practicing turned into several hours. My father and my grandmother were the original tiger moms that I've ever encountered. You know? You get tiger moms in respect to Asian parents, but in this case, they're Polish parents.
They didn't force you to weekend math school like Asian tiger moms?
Weekend math school?
Math.
No. We spent our weekends going to repertoire, which was group practice. So we individually practice our violins for about an hour a day. So I started playing at the age of 2 all the way up until I was a freshman in high school. 2, Polly. 2 years of age. Do you know how big a violin is for a 2-year-old? It's not that big.
Oh, wait a minute. I was about to say, like, oversized for their body. You mean they have tiny little violins for 2-year-olds?
They have tiny little violins. I'm not even kidding because I
didn't know that. That's
early.
Hilarious.
So at the age of 2, every Saturday and Tuesday, I'd either go to lessons or I'd go to group practice, which is called repertoire. And then every single day, except for Sundays, because the Lord's Day, you do not work on the Lord's Day, I'd play for at least an hour. I would practice my heart out. Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star got an hour of attention every single weekday for who knows how the frick long. And you know how hard Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star is?
For a 2-year-old, probably pretty goddamn hard.
Well, it's pretty hard. But after a second, it gets a little bit old because you're just playing it over and over again for 2 hours. Polly, do you know how crazy people were driven at a certain point? The dedication here is nuts.
Yeah.
Anyway, so from there we move on to more advanced pieces, because originally Twinkle Twinkle Little Star is just written out for you on a piece of paper and you have to play the notes specifically. But after a certain point, you get to actual music notation where it's black and white on actual bar graphs instead of just this is the note, this is the note, this is the string, this is the note, this is the fingering, all of this jazz. But then you get to the more advanced pieces, and those are a little bit more difficult. And because I'm basically dyslexic, it was so hard for me to actually learn. I actually played everything based off of my ear memory, so I could match pitch fantastically. But reading music, not so much. So I was always a little bit iffy.
Peter asks us, you don't have to answer this, but Weebs and Polly, are you both going into mass debt for your college degrees you are doing?
I'm not, actually. I will be out of college without any debt in any capacity.
Score.
Because of my merit scholarships.
Nice.
And my dad. Thank you, Dad. Can't take all the credit there.
I had a couple of different awards, but I did go into debt for undergrad, but I worked during the summer. So a lot of it got paid off like during the summer of my undergrad. But by the time that I did my master's degree on a full scholarship with a stipend, and I'm doing my PhD on a full scholarship with a stipend. So I'm not, no debt for either one of those.
Go Polly.
Yeah. You'd almost think I know what I'm doing or something, but I don't. I just slipped through the cracks. It's fine.
Weebo is basically dyslexic. You know, I couldn't read until 3 years old, and even now I have trouble with any language that isn't English. So that's musical language included. It's a miracle that I got as far as I did, and violin is how I did.
Tudor asks, Polly, how old are you? I am 33.
You're 33?
I am.
You're like, let's see, I'm 21. It's 12 years? Yeah, that's about 12 years of difference. So what I have to look forward to?
What?
I don't know, just like
a
if I
future of
continue
awesomeness and hissing excellence every day. It's a bright future to look forward to.
Is that what you call it?
This is what I choose to believe.
I don't know. I have a different plan for my life. Like, people have been talking to me. They ask me, Weebo, what are you going to do when you graduate in May? And I'm like, I don't know. I could go to grad school. I could get a job. Where are you going to live? I don't know. Wisconsin? I don't know. I have no idea what I want to do anymore. For the longest time, I did have an idea, and it was always like, I'm going to be a detective. I'm going to do stuff for the FBI. I'm gonna be an investigator for them. But now, after my 1 month long internship with them, where I was doing like a whole bunch of shifts with my local police department, I was thinking to myself, I can't do this for my entire career. I need something a little bit more substantial in terms of what it demands of me mentally.
Right.
And normal police beat cop stuff doesn't do it for me, which I get it. If that's what you want to do, that's totally fine. I respect you 100%. It's the coolest thing ever, but it's not for me. And I know that now. And I'm glad that I know that now. But now I don't know what I want to do. And I have 2 majors, psychology and computer science, and I have no idea where I want to take them. But everyone and their mother, my advisors, my sponsor, my dad, they're always asking me, so what do you want to do with the rest of your life? And I can't give them a straight answer. I'm like, maybe I could go to grad school, but I don't think I want to do that right out of undergrad. Maybe I'll get some experience and then I have whatever company it is that I sign up with pay for it. But I don't know still.
No one's more guaranteed to pay for it from what I know. I'm certainly not trying to be expert career advice, but than the federal government. But federal government, they're more guaranteed to pay for it, different departments, but you're going to they've got retention guarantees associated with it. If you work for us for a minimum of 3 years, then we will pay it off after that point and retroactively to cover the interest that you've paid on it up until this point. So it's all retention based. We don't want you to take the fuck off.
Yeah.
Which I guess makes sense. They don't want you to work for them for 1 year. They pay off your degree and then you fuck off somewhere else,
Exactly.
I mean, into private work somehow.
Yeah. And not to mention, like, that's just the educational side of things. I also want to get married in the next 10 years. I also want to have kids before I'm 30. And, I have the person that I want to do that with all lined up. So it's not an issue of finding who I'm going to arrange this with, but it's a matter of when are we going to have the time as well in the middle of all of this nonsense. So it's a little bit complicated, and it's all happening before I turn the age of 30, and I want to get sorted out before I turn 30, but I don't know how to sort it out yet, and I haven't a clear path where I did before. I don't now.
Well, think of all the people that do career pivots. I love that phrasing. Meaning a fuck ton of people out there, weebs, do career pivots. They change directions and go in a different direction. So you have a general, you don't have a hyper focused education path. You got law enforcement experience and you've done this sort of thing and that sort of thing. Make sure you avail yourself to internships and the like that are generalized and can be applied to a lot of different things. So, you can career pivot if you want. Like, I've been doing this for a while and I did not think I'd be doing all the research contracts that I'm doing now. And that's in desperate attempt to stay above water in terms of money. Pete asked if we were going into debt. No, I'm not going into debt, but it's what one professor described as benign poverty. Meaning, like, yeah, you have food and shelter and clothing and all of those things and nothing more. So it's like you're
bare necessities.
You're not burning yourself into debt. It's true. And a lot of people are living like hand them out check to check. And I get that. And trying to cover the basics, they're ending up going into debt. So they're not even treading water. They're slowly sinking. That sucks. I get that. And I'm glad I'm not doing that. But that's because all the goddamn research contracts I had to take on. But then that opens up different career paths that I hadn't considered before. I don't know. I'd like to be an instructor at a research university, but man, that's like, did you pick a hard enough gig to get into?
I could see you doing research stuff in terms of teaching people things. I could see it. I don't know how good you'd be at it, but well, I don't know your organizational skills, and that's a big part of it.
Yeah. I don't know. I've taught a number of classes and then TA'd for more than I can remember.
I was a TA too. That wasn't super difficult because all I had to do was be there to help people with whatever it is that they had issues with. I had to be available, and that was it.
TA ships that I've gotten were all, okay, the instructor has a set amount of things that they have to teach throughout the week. And let's say that there's 2 classes for a total minutes of classroom instruction. They take the one tutorial that goes on per week and they take part of the curriculum and push it off over to the tutorial to turn it into a 3rd class. So as a TA, you're understudy instructor, just not in name. And I get why they're doing that because these are instructors that are paid on contract. They're not tenure track.
Yeah.
So they're being paid semester to semester to be teaching the classes that they are. And so to make money, to survive, because they're not tenure track or tenured, they are taking like 3 or 4 classes a semester. So they have to push a lot of stuff off their plate. And yeah, it ends up over on your plate. So you're not tutoring is the short version of the story. Mm-hmm. You're simply teaching, not in name. So anyway, I've taught a lot organizing the class instruction. It depends on how organized it is when you get there. A lot of the time, they just hand you the syllabus and say, here, this is what you're teaching. And it's like, oh, okay, well, there you go.
It was very interesting to be a TA for a while. I'm sorry, did you have a Streamlabs?
No, I was just going to, oh, wait a minute, you already answered that, sorry. The tutor said, can someone link me? And I just wrote, here, click on the 3 little dots and it'll take you right to where I'm at.
Well, I Polly's information linked in the description below where it is that you can find all of the links. So my links, Polly's links, they're all there. So you definitely go check those out.
Hey, here's something that's funny.
What?
So after I'm done this, and I get a cup of coffee and sober up a little bit more, we may have drank on the ride back to my place. I don't know.
What the frick? It's play. Sorry.
Autoplay.
I don't know why.
I'm in the middle. So it's Halloween, right? And I'm a big fan of the legend. Yes. Well, it's the season of Halloween.
I quite enjoy it. It's Halloween month. Let's go with that. All right, continue. Sorry.
I enjoy my little live reads that I do on my channel and stuff. And I am a big fan of the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. So I'm trying to do a live read of Irving Washington's original.
Oh.
1820 language is a bitch, weebs. At least once a paragraph, I'm having to, I don't know what that word is, much less how to pronounce it.
Welcome to my life. The first couple of articles that I had to read for my thesis were exactly like that. I was like, what does this mean? I need to look this up. What is utilitarian exactly?
Utilitarian in the sense of like English utilitarianism, or
just in terms of morality.
John Stuart Mill's a hack.
Well, okay, so I had my sponsor for my thesis explain it to me in graphic detail, so I understood 100%, because a lot of my thesis rides on this idea of, well, what affects morality? Is it contextual? And one of those instances where I'm looking at it is autonomous vehicles. So, for example, people find themselves more inclined to opt for the utilitarian vehicle that makes decisions based off of, is this going to spare the maximum amount of lives in terms of pedestrians versus killing off their driver person, the person who buys the vehicle in the first place?
Right.
And they're all for the utilitarian perspective. The one that says that sends the driver careening off of a cliff to save 15 pedestrians. Until they're asked, hey, are you going to buy one of these utilitarian vehicles?
Right.
And then it's a complete 180. And they find that hilarious. But that's just part of my thesis. It's very interesting. Yes, the objective versus the subjective morality. I guess you could go with that explanation. But utilitarian essentially means what is going to cause the most amount of good.
I like Mill isn't actually. He's not a hack. I mean, that's overstating it. Moral philosophy and ethics ran thin for me really quick. You're not gonna like everything. It doesn't mean it's bad. It just wasn't my particular cup of tea, because I don't know. It's like reading Immanuel Kant. It runs thin really quick for me. What generates the most general good? And it's people are rational. Whoa, cool background sounds.
Jesus fuck. I need to get a handle on this phone here. Sorry, I had to message my lab partners for a class. Tell them I'm gonna be a little bit late because I was supposed to be there at 9:30. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. But yeah, we do have to wrap this up.
Oh yes, fine. Yeah, so I'm gonna sober up and try and take another chunk out of that Legend of Sleepy Hollow read. I'm having fun doing it, but god damn, you want to talk about like recording something and having to do the same line over and over again, because just it's 1820. The use of language and the way that sentences are put together is really different from the way that we do it now. And you say you're borderline dyslexic. You know what it's like then to read off of a live script, like a script that's in front of you, and trying to read it verbatim. Yeah, I saw the rolling eyes and the smile. You know the pain.
Do you want to see my scripts? For the entire 4 years that I've been doing YouTube, I've always used a script for the most part. And it's like, what's going on here? The amount of edits that I have to make post recording the raw footage is
man.
But it works.
And there's a time where I'll read it over and I'll get like a paragraph done, and it's like, you know what? I overread so many sentences there. I'm just going to go back and do it over again to try and get it like a cleaner cut, because that's going to save me 20 minutes of editing. So it's a slow slog of a process. I enjoy it. It's a great story. It's like super fucking high tension, but
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating to read how short that story is and how deep it's like the Headless Horseman. Come on. It's deep Halloween lore, man. And yet the story is so short. It's really cool. If you create something that's really memorable and strikes a chord with people, it doesn't matter if it's short as long as it's good.
Yeah. Yes. 100%. Although I do like the expanded things that people can come up with. You ever read fan fiction, Polly?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Hey, it's not unfortunate unless you find something that is truly just.
What do you mean it's not unfortunate? You're the channel that's done my Immortal. You know the pain.
What are you talking about? That was an utter delight. I had a great time making SDA read the whole of my Immortal. It's only fun for me because I've forced other people to endure what I already know is going to be a shit show. I also had her read Hogwarts School of Prayers and Miracles.
Don't know that one. Is it bad?
Look it up, Polly.
Okay. Hogwarts School of what's and Miracles?
Prayers and Miracles. I think I'll send you a link to it. It's quite good in terms of, God damn it, how dare you? I'm a little bit of a sadist in that regard. Anyway, so I have to be elsewhere. Polly, I know you have other things to do. Chat, I thank you for coming out tonight to witness this shenanigans, all 1 hour and 48 minutes of this nonsense.
Woohoo!
Which was singularly me just talking at you nonsense. But I enjoy this. I enjoy the talk. and the interactions. Thank you also for donating to those of you who donated. Thank you, Polly, for bothering to show up.
That's not what happened. That's...
I don't know what you're talking about. And I hope you guys will be back here later this coming week on Sunday. Same time, same place, same gig. Hopefully, Polly will be on time this time.
It's more likely that I will, because I will be trusting no designated drivers next week.
It's not like you had ample opportunity to make better plans ahead of time or anything.
I'm just saying.
All right. I'll let it slide. It's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm just going to tease you about it a little bit. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, I can understand.
I hope you enjoyed this show. And Polly, do you have anything that you want to shill?
Not particularly. You can find my channel here.
Links in the description.
And links also in the description. So there it is. Thank you for coming by, everybody. It's always a good time.
Thank you so much. And have a good evening and the rest of your week, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you back here Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my channel. Enjoy until then.
Yay. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.